Hey everyone, this is Mr. Isometric and congratulations on completing all the previous video tutorials. In today's video, we are going to shade and light this character. In previous videos, we modeled, rigged and animated this character. So all of those files will be available on my Ko-fi for free to everyone. Thank you all so much for your support and all the good comments and feedback that you have given on my past videos. Those really help. I also have a Discord server, so if you want any personalized help, you can get over there and you can ask for help over there. I'll reply as soon as I can. Also, the comment section is free for you all, so comment down below if you have any doubts, and if you don't want to join Discord server. That's enough of my intro, so let's get started with shading. So in the previous video, we animated the rigid body, we baked it. So after baking it, we also made the body transparent. So let's just undo that so that it doesn't get in our way. So let's make the alpha 1. Also, I am seeing a lot of blank space on the top. So I'm also going to tweak camera a little bit more. Let's turn on the background and we are going to make our camera go down that much. So now the spacing is kind of even on top and bottom, and yeah, that looks good. Also, one more thing that I actually should have done is to bring the arms closer to the body because they have a little bit of gap in between them. So I'll just move them a little bit closer like that. And as we are using mirror modifier, the other side will be taken care of automatically. So now what we are going to do is we are going to go into the rendered view, and as we can see that there is actually nothing over there. Let's actually change this to rendered view and this to shader editor. So there you go. Press N if you have that annoying panel all the time. I don't know why it is always turned on in mine. Let's go into the camera view over here and we will hide all the overlays. Now in the world settings, let's go to the world setting. And over here, do make sure that you have Node Wrangler add-on turned on so that you can just press Ctrl T. And as a good YouTuber, I again forgot to turn on the screencast keys for you guys. Really sorry for that. So when you press Ctrl and T, you will get this environment texture automatically added with the mapping and texture coordinate node. Now we are going to open a nice HDRI. So I have the collection of good HDRIs with me, and I think I will go with the Artist Workshop. This is like my go-to HDRI at the beginning. So I'm just going to change the rotation of Z to 45. I actually really like the 45 look, and if we can decrease the strength over here if we want, or better we can go ahead and change our color transform. So in the color management, you will see that we are set to filmic. If we change it to AGX, our dynamic range increases, and now we can change this to punchy if we want. Okay, you can now play with the exposure and gamma to make it look the way you want it to look. Okay, totally depends on you how you want it to look. Okay, so now let's get started with the shading. We did a little bit of lighting for the shading purposes. I'm going to make the first material, which is this pink material over there. So let's click on the plus and let's make it pink. Now I could just use eyedropper tool like that and get a color, and now we can tweak it so that we get the color we want. We can play with the saturation and a little bit of hue. Okay, so I think we should increase it a little bit more. Now the roughness, let's decrease that to something like 0.2, and that actually kind of looks good. Then we can have more specularity if we want, and we can also get it a little bit less specularity. So I think 0.4 looks good on this character. So now to apply material to the multiple objects. By the way, you can hide the armatures, we don't need them. You can also hide the curve. Okay, so just select the arms and legs, and we will select our head at the last. And if we press Ctrl L, we have link material, so we can click on that and it will automatically apply material from the active selected object. Now we need to make a material for the eyes, so I'm just going to name it eyes. Now eyes have two color, which is white and black. Now instead of making two different shaders. What I like to do is use UV map in my advantage. So in the UV map, as you can see, we have one. I'm just going to change this to a UV editor. So let's make it a UV editor. Let's go into the edit mode, and we are going to select the center vertex, hit plus, plus, and plus one more. And we are going to select everything, scale everything to 0 like that. And I'm going to grab it over there, and I'm going to put it inside this first square over there. And let's press Ctrl I, select everything, scale everything to 0. And now I'm going to put this dot on the second box over there. And now if you select both of them, you'll see that I have two dots over here. So the UV coordinates, they go from 0 to 0 0.1, 0 0.2, something like that. And we can then use our UV map like this. And then we can separate the XYZ. Okay, so UV space has two vectors, which is the x1 and the y1, and we have put our first UV map on the x. We can take the x and we can say math node, and then we can use a greater than. Now this will give us a toggle between the eye sockets. So as you can see, you need to have a really clear. Okay, so I don't know why it is doing that. Let me check. Okay, so we might have a loose geometry. Let me merge everything by distance. Nothing is there. I don't know why it didn't got selected, but let's do it again. So instead of vertex, let's go ahead and select the faces now. So I'll select all of these faces. Okay, there you go. Select everything, scale everything to 0. And let's grab it to the first quadrant like that. Okay, so now it is working properly. Let's go back into the camera view. And if you feel like this eyes, they are actually kind of way too big, you can always scale them down a little bit like that. Let's scale them down a little bit more. Okay, this looks really good. Now you have a control over there. So anything greater than 0.1, I think will work. So I'll just make it 0.05. Okay, there you go. So this way you can have a mask, and now you can add a mix node, mix color node, and plug this into the factor value, not over there, the factor, and let's put that into the base color. Okay, so now I'll make this black and let's make this white. Now you have all the control over the eye color in this way. Now I'll make this rough like 0.8. Specularity, let's keep it at 0.5. So my eyes are done. Now let's go over the body. So let's make it a glass material, or actually this is just a transparent plastic. So transparent plastic, there you go. Let's make it bright. Let's decrease the roughness to something really low. I'm going to make the transmission 1. So it already starts looking like a plastic material, and we will give it a really less glossy. So metallic can act as a glossy value. Roughness, we do have roughness with us. You can increase that as well. Now you can add a layer weight. And we need to invert this and put it inside the IOR like this. Now I'm just going to add a color ramp. Let's push this node behind. We don't need UV editor, so I'm collapsing it. Let's plug that into IOR. Oh wait, I have to plug the color and not the alpha. There you go. And now we are going to invert our color ramp by flip color ramp. We can decrease the blend from over here. Like I need the edges to be like really metallic. So I'm going to have it something like that. Let's just make it 0.5, and now we can control it from over here. So if I decrease this value, something like that, and we can use this sliders like this, so we get that edge distortion that usually glass or any plastic would have. You can play with the sliders and get the desired effect that you want. So this looks really good. For the color, you can have a tint if you want. I'm not going to have that, but though I think I will make it a little bit darker, like a really slight bit darker, something like that. You can also decrease the alpha if you want, else everything looks really nice. Oh yeah, the specular one, yeah, we have to increase that to the 1. You can also give the tint to the specularity, that will also look good. I'm not going to do that. And now let's shade our spheres inside. So let me select one of the sphere and let's add a ball material. And now we are going to select every of the sphere. So select object, and we need to make sure that we control select our last sphere or the sphere that has the material, and then hit Control L and then link material. So now as you can see, all of my spheres have that material over there. Okay, now let me just go ahead and collapse that window. So let's focus on our character. Now I'm going to decrease. Okay, let's make the saturation 1, and we need different colors for each object. And as this all objects are separate but they are using the same material, what we can do is you can use an object info node. Now this node has a randomness to it, and we can use that to our advantage, and we can add a color ramp. There you go. And the color socket, let's put that into the color. Now we need to add a few colors, so RGB and yeah, something like that. So now after adding the colors, we are going to distribute stops evenly from the left, and we are going to change linear to constant. Now in this way we can have different colors for each of the spheres. So let's change the first color. So I'm going to go into the RGB. Let's make it red. Let's make this blue. Let's tone down both of them. Let's make this green like that. And now let's make this yellow. And we are going to keep the white. Now blue is way too much blue, so I'm just going to tone it down a little bit, decrease the saturation. Okay, red looks good. Green looks, we can make green a little bit more darker, something like that. Okay, red is fine. Yellow, let's make yellow more yellow. I think I'll shift the hue to down a little bit like that. Okay, so I'm currently happy with this result. You can tweak the values as much as you want, and you can get your desired result. Now this looks really clean and sharp, which is a good thing. I'm just going to turn on the denoise now and look at it, and it looks really good. Let's select other frames, and it is looking really nice. I'm happy with the results. Okay, so now let's talk about the render settings. So if you have a high-end computer, then you can change it to GPU, and then the 4096 value is a bit too high. The maximum value that I recommend for the resolution 1920 and 1080, 200 is really good value of samples for that. But if you are going to go ahead and increase the resolution to 4K, like if I multiply this with 2, and usually I like to do that, then you can drastically reduce this number to something like 128, or even 64 is a really good number for that. So if you have a good system, then you can go for 128 samples. And if you have low end, then you can still, with the 4K, you can create like 64 samples will also give a really nice result. You don't have to worry about anything else. And for the rendering output, I like to make everything render as PNG. You can have any of the format if you want, but I will definitely not recommend exporting anything in the video format, because that will sometimes, like, making changes to those is difficult and you will not have that much control over it. So compression, I'll just make it 0, and we don't have any transparent, like transparent background, so I'll prefer to keep it at RGB so that my image size, they are smaller. Color management, change if you want. If you can override over here if you want. You can again go ahead and tweak some of these settings over here, like you can decrease the exposure, you can increase or decrease the gamma if you want. And once you are happy with everything, just hit Ctrl and F12 and let it render wherever you have selected your output directory to be. And after rendering, you can compile everything. So let me just show you how to do that. So I'm just going to go into the video editing space. So over here, let's go to the video editing. And now in the sequencer, all you gotta do is you need to add your image sequences. So I have already rendered this project before, so I'm just going to show that now. So let me just open that project. It is in the satisfying animations image sequence. Now this are pretty huge sequence. Now this might lag a little bit, but you can now go ahead and go to the image sequence, select every of your sequence that you have rendered and just add image strip. Now from over here you can make a lot of changes. So now this also shows your last frame, so 430. You can make this 430, so 430 like that. And then if you use shift arrow keys, then you can jump to the last frame. And as you can see, my last frame is this one, so I'm just going to increase it to 431. Okay, and my first frame is over there. It starts from over there, so it starts from 2. I'm just going to do that. By the way, the reason why it is starting from 2 is because my cursor, while adding the image, it was over there, so it added from over there. You can also move this strip front and back like this, so it can also start from the starting first frame like that. And now it will end at 430, I guess. Yep, now it is ending at 430. So this number over there shows how many frames we have imported and how many frames are there. Also, you can check at every image has this data, metadata, you can say. It shows the resolution, and then the time it took to render and stuff like that, and the color space. Okay, so the one thing that I will definitely ask you guys to check if your scale is 1, and if it is not, just make it 1, and also make sure that your resolution is same. And once everything is good, you have to change your output method to FFmpeg. Color management, let's keep it like that. Encoding, you have to change it to MP4. Video codec, let's keep it at that. Output quality, it depends totally on you, but high quality is the best choice for the speed and performance, and everything else is good. If you want the audio editing in the Blender, then you can do it over here, and then you can select AAC for that, and then you can choose your custom bitrate over there. But yeah, apart from that, all you have to do now is hit Ctrl F12 and it will render it as an image sequence. Also, the output folder matters, so make sure you also select that. And that's how you create your own short animation inside Blender from starting to end. So this is my process of creating some animation like this. Now I personally use to render. I actually don't render it on my system. I use Render Farm because it is much more faster that way, and the render farm that I use is for Blender specific. It is a community render farm. It is known as Sheepit Render Farm. I'll make a dedicated video on how to use Sheepit Render Farm itself, and it will be also available in the playlist, so don't worry about it. But yeah, if you know how to use Sheepit Render Farm, then it's good for you. I'll make a tutorial as soon as I can. So that's it for this tutorial series. Now the project files will definitely be available in the description below of every video for free for everyone, as I said in the introduction of this video. And also thank you all so much for watching, viewing and learning with me. Also thank you, like big massive thank you for the supporters on the Ko-fi. Because of you I'm able to do this, make these videos, and I'm really grateful for that. If you have any doubts in this video, then you can comment them in the comment section, or you can join the Discord server and ask me doubts over there. And yeah, I hope this video helps in your project and in your future projects. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Bye bye.